And we welcome you to the pregame show. This is the pregame show on OSN Lever Sage. Tanner Riley, Ottawa Senators in Calgary to take on the Flames in about 45 minutes from now. And we are currently about 18 hours and 45 minutes away from the NHL trade deadline coming up tomorrow. Tanner, great to be able to see you in person and not read your 100 million chats from the other night. How are you?
Pretty good. Nice to be back on the show. I kept you guys company at least. It would have been pretty boring if there was no chat. I was awake.
I was wired. I could have gone. The look on Zach's face was like, please end the show. Please end the show.
And I wish him luck tonight too. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, exactly. But lots to talk about as we get into this one. 6 points back of a playoff spot behind the Boston Bruins. The Ottawa Senators sit. They are in action tonight. Ottawa, of course, in Calgary, with Seattle and Vancouver looming after the deadline. And also the Boston Bruins are in action tonight, as are a bevy of other teams across the league. But no score. About 6 minutes in, Boston in Nashville tonight, taking on the Predators. And we got ourselves a move, Tanner, that we better talk about right off the hop. Warren Foegele is now an Ottawa Senator. And I'm going to ask you, Tanner, not what you think of the deal for a second round pick and some really, really odd. Both teams
those trade conditions. It's like
both teams have conditions on the third round pick that's coming back. And what if it's Ottawa's, but what if it's, somebody else's? And then LA's got the same thing. And it's like, okay, it's a little weird. They've exchanged third round picks, but really the deal is Warren Foegele for a second round pick. And I don't want to know what you think of the deal. I want you to know where Warren Foegele is from.
He's from Markham. Oh, I see why you wore that.
Yes, he is. Let's go. Okay, I got it on backwards because this is the back of the shirt. My world. I'd show you the front here. It actually says, see, now I've got it on backwards. Can you see it from here, Tanner?
Yep.
What does it say?
It says Canada at the bottom.
Yes. When I was like a year younger than you, 14 years old, I was in, I was in, see, I popped you. That's good. I was in Finland for a World Bantam tournament, kind of representing Canada, but it wasn't like the best Canadian team ever. It wasn't
if you were there, then
it wasn't the best 18 players in Canada. I don't want to fool anybody, but it was sort of a collection of a group around Toronto that we went over. The famous story that I'll tell maybe in detail at another time. I ended up billeting in Jarkko Ruutu's house with the entire Ruutu clan and got to know him when I was 14. And of course, he and both his brothers, of course, all made the NHL. I didn't. But the part about Markham on the back was a very, very big pride thing for me. Warren Foegele, McLovin from...
What a nickname.
Yeah. From Markham. Okay, so not exactly blow me over trade here from the Ottawa Senators, but what was your initial reaction to finding out that Warren Foegele was a second round pick, or was an Ottawa Senator for a second round pick?
Initially, I will say I was a little bit underwhelmed, just on the surface. And, I listened to 32 Thoughts. I'm fairly plugged in with what's going on around the league. I remember a press conference shortly after the Los Angeles Kings acquired Artemi Panarin, and their GM Sam Bowman was basically like, yeah, we got to trade Foegele. Like, we're scratching this guy. He's not doing much here. So from that angle, I thought a second round pick did seem a little high.
Right.
But I'm also taking into context some of the other moves that we've seen in the last 24 to 48 hours, where players like Jason Dickinson and Nick Waugh are demanding a first round pick plus.
Yeah.
And that brings me to, maybe a second's not so bad for Warren Foegele.
Yeah, Mike McCarron got a second round pick too, which is
Right.
for anyone saying that this is a buyer's market.
Yeah, my ass.
Not exactly.
Maybe
However,
going into it, but yeah.
So here's the thing about Warren Fogle. He has been scratched. He's got 7 goals and 2 assists. He's in the battle for the Cy Young this year at 7-2 in 47 games with the Kings. I find this a really intriguing player that I'm not sure that a lot of people should have this crazy massive opinion on. And here's why. Because with the LA Kings, not only did their coach get fired, they had defensive first, second, third, and fourth thoughts on their team before they ever started to do anything. And
there's a reason that Jim Hiller's not the coach anymore.
Yes, exactly. He thought that they could win that way. They couldn't. And a lot of the players suffered from a statistics point of view. However, I don't want people to get carried away either to say, oh, but before that, he was a 20-goal scorer for the previous 2 years before this year. Well, who did he play for, Tanner?
The Edmonton Oilers.
Okay. So I know he wasn't side by side with Connor McDavid all the time. I understand. But I can tell you that when you play with a team that is up and down the ice the way the Oilers are, and the opposition cares about McDavid and then Draisaitl and then McDavid and then Draisaitl and then McDavid, you're going to get way more opportunity with that up-tempo, offensive-minded team.
I get that. Not trying to discredit you here, but he did have a 20-goal season in Edmonton. Yep. Last season, he had a 24-goal season with the Los Angeles Kings.
Yeah, and they played completely different, right?
Right. Where he was also plus 36.
Yeah, the Kings
time on ice. Yeah.
The Kings were this anomaly last year that you're like, how are they this good? Right? Mm-hmm. We all looked at them. They're kind of like the Washington Capitals for me. Like, how the hell are the Washington Capitals this good last year? Well, they're not this good this year.
Logan Thompson, it was Darcy Kemper.
Yeah.
On either side of the fence for those two.
So
it's funny because it was those two that made the trade.
Yeah, exactly.
Pierre-Luc Dubois and Darcy Kemper swap, and it worked out pretty well for both of them.
So back to Warren Fogle. Look, we've been talking all week long. What do the Senators need? I think they need a backup goaltender or another goaltender here down the stretch if they're serious about this year. I've heard you and other people say they need scoring. And of course, the right shot D is always the first thing out of everybody's mouth when it comes to the Ottawa Senators. So let's understand that they traded a second-round pick for none of those things. Okay, so now where are we? Like, as far as the assets that they have to be able to go out and do something else, my initial thought, Tanner, was this deal is a next year deal. He's got 1 year left after this at $3.5 million. They can see what they have in a player. They're going to have guys like David Perron, like Lars Eller. You can probably help me with other guys that, like, who knows what Claude Giroux is going to do. But up front,
Jensen and probably Nick Cousins would be the other one.
Right, Nick Cousins was the other guy I was trying to think of. But I meant up front. They're going to lose 3 or 4 of those, what we would call, I mean, Giroux is, yeah, he's kind of a bottom 6 guy, depending on.
You would think so at this point.
But the other guys are Eller, Nick Cousins,
Perron,
David Perron. So they have upgraded that. He's not a top 6, but he's not a fourth liner either. So he's third line is tough sometimes because when you look at the third line, often they have more ice time than a second line, depending on how the game is going. So to be able to frame it that way to me is a little odd. He is a top 9 player. Like, he can fit in your top 9. And I think the Ottawa Senators made a good deal, especially with their recent draft history, which hasn't been fantastic.
No, I sent that to you. with it being a second round pick, their last 3 second round picks are Ben Roger, Philip Norberg, and Gabriel Eliasson. Do you think any of those guys are going to play in the NHL?
No. Some of those are not from this regime.
Correct. It's from the same scouting department for the most part.
For the most
part. Hasn't been a whole lot of change there in the amateur side.
I agree, but when it comes to the actual pick, sometimes with a new management structure, they don't have the say that they used to have. However, I understand what you're saying. Second round picks, when you say it like that, it's like, oh, well, then he's a better player than the guys that they got. Well, all right, Shane Pinto is the second round pick. I know an early second round pick.
He is 32nd overall before there were 32 teams. So
he was a second round pick. So factually, that is correct. Thank you. So I don't really look at their previous history. I say that's just bad selecting. You need to be better in that area. And that's a separate discussion from an asset that you're trading off. So I think this is a deal for next year. That's how I saw it. I don't think they're much better this year. And their cupboard already bare isn't something right now that I think is getting better, but we'll see. I mean, we have 18 hours plus until the deal or until the deadline. Eric is in just saying, or it becomes part of another trade.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about other moves in a second here, but I do want to talk about his fit a little bit. I do think it is a bit of an upgrade for this season because when you're looking at their third line right now, it's Michael Amadio and Shane Pinto, which works very well. But on that third line with them is Nick Cousins. And to me, Nick Cousins has had a great year, but Nick Cousins is a fourth line player and should be playing on their fourth line. So I really like the fit of him being a left winger. Shane Pinto, also someone who's been struggling a little bit right now offensively. But when you're playing Shane Pinto with Michael Amadio, who we talk a lot, he's a great player on the show, but he's not a big offensive guy. And Nick Cousins, what are you expecting from Shane Pinto?
Right.
And I think Fogle is a perfect fit there. Also looking at a lot of his advanced analytics and stuff. I'm a bit of an analytics nerd. I enjoy that kind of stuff. He's one of the best penalty killers in the league statistically, which before they made that coaching change, I mean, the penalty kill was bottom 2 in the league. It's gotten a lot better since then. So I think Fogle can help them in that regard. He was a big part of Edmonton's penalty kill as well during their cup run, which was very, very good. So I like the fit there. Again, he's cost controlled going into next season. So I think it's checking a lot of boxes.
29 years old as well. So he's not an old player.
And to me, he's taking the spot of where David Perron would be next season. And he's 10 years younger than David Perron. And it's probably going to put up the same amount of points.
He's a better player than David Perron in the same position. So they've upgraded that part of it. Now, if David Perron came back and was healthy right now, it's close, but David Perron has been out for 5 weeks. And yes, he's maybe close to coming back, but he's still not going to be the type of player that you need him to be. And it might be too late until he even gets going. So,
and to me, like this, I know Eric here in the chat mentioning that maybe he becomes part of another trade. I don't imagine they're going to flip Fogle, but to me, this preludes something else because you can't have David Perron and Fabian Zetterlund making $8 million playing on your fourth line.
Right.
And right now, Ottawa has 15 forwards now after making this move on their NHL roster. That does count Stephen Halliday, who could be sent down. And if he's still on this team, will probably be sent down tomorrow, at least papered so he can play in the AHL playoffs if it comes to that. But I think more interestingly, he's being held out of tonight's game, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. Elliot Friedman also mentioning him in his recent column a couple of hours ago as someone to watch over the next 16, 18 hours or so.
Right. I don't know what's coming back for Stephen Halliday. Like we talk about him sometimes like he's going to get this big return, but I don't think that's probable.
No.
I do think that a number of people will be on the move, and maybe it's going to be something that Halliday gets tied to one of the other guys so that when Ottawa is able to get someone to take some of Zetterlund's salary, they're getting Halliday as well, or you don't know too much about what's going on that way. I do think I agree with you to Eric's point. They're not going to peddle Warren Fogle again, but it probably is the first part of their plan before 3:00 tomorrow afternoon, which the plan is not over yet.
Yeah, and especially, I think regardless of tonight's game, you have to look at the market a little bit and see what some of these veterans are getting. Like I've mentioned a couple times this week and on social media that there's no reason Halliday can't slot in where Lars Eller is right now. And with some of the prices people are paying for centers, Lars Eller could probably get you that second round, maybe a third round pick back. And so then, there you go.
I know we haven't heard anything about Claude Giroux. If somebody called for Claude Giroux tonight, what do you think that the Ottawa could ask for, though?
It'd be a first plus, I imagine. Probably a first and a good prospect, at least.
Well, he's a better player than a lot. Like McCarron got a second. He's way better than him. Like, I don't know. I look at what the prices are right now, and it'd be interesting. We haven't heard his name whatsoever. Ethan says, Halliday, a young, big, speedy player. More importantly, Halliday's a center, and centers have a lot of value in this league right now. Halliday not playing center here for the most part. Right?
Only when Elder was hurt.
Yeah. But again, I'm telling you, Ethan, and everybody else, you value your own farm system way more than other people do.
You value your own players in general. There was a poll I saw on Twitter. I guess I got into the Los Angeles Kings algorithm a little bit, where it was a Kings fan posting, would you give up Quentin Byfield for Robert Thomas? And it was a genuine, serious question by this Kings fan, contemplating whether they should give up on Quentin Byfield for Robert Thomas.
Ridiculous.
So yeah, that happens all around the league, I think.
Yeah, it really does. I think, you look at your prospects and you see them all the time, but every team's got a bunch of prospects. And I can tell you that most teams, almost all teams, have more prospects than the Ottawa Senators. So no one's looking at the Ottawa roster going, wow, there's a couple of like blue chip A+ prospects on that team. Maybe we could go and get them. That's not happening. So they go in, though, 6 points back. They're in this weird spot, right? They're in this really, really odd spot right now. 6 points back. By the way, the Nashville Predators have opened the scoring in that game against the Boston Bruins. So that's some good news for Ottawa. 1-0 with about 4 minutes to go. Nick Hague has his third of the year. So that's good news for Ottawa. We'll keep you abreast on that. The Blue Jackets beating Florida 2-0. I told you, just bet everything you have against the Florida Panthers every game and you'll be fine.
Interesting, some of their scratches tonight as well. AJ Greer sitting out, but they also did not start Sergei Bobrovsky.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to listen, right? And you have to, that's what people call roster and trade management. You don't know necessarily that you're going to trade Sergei Bobrovsky or for anybody. But I think if there's a possibility and somebody called you or you're working on something that's even possible, if that guy got hurt tonight, you just, that's not your job as a GM.
Mm-hmm.
And the Florida Panthers are not in a very good position right now. They're not going to make it. So there's absolutely no reason to risk that. The Buffalo Sabres just keep rolling along too. 4-1, they lead the Pittsburgh Penguins with 4 minutes to go in the second period.
Unfortunate for them, though, today. Bit of a Knicks trade that almost went down between Buffalo and St. Louis. Colt Parayko using his trade protection.
So what was your initial thought on all of that? The trade for Colton Parayko, and then we find out afterwards that he was, like, Buffalo wasn't on the list and they had to go to him after a deal. This is a really, really odd situation and does not make, I think, anybody look good in this spot. I feel bad for the player. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it happen a couple of times. I know Torrey Krug to Philly was a big one a couple of years ago. I think there was a Matt Murray one that also involved Buffalo at one point.
Yeah.
It sucks. Like, I don't think these trades should be getting out until these players have waived their things, but that's what today's world is. I
What
would
about
have really, I think, liked the deal for Buffalo because they need a big right shot D.
Yeah.
And they've got enough prospects from the last 15 years that they've been drafting, at least the ones that are still there.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter to them.
Ethan says, I think Parayko believes Buffalo is a 1-year wonder. I don't look at that team and go, that's a 1-year wonder.
Me neither. Especially because, again, they've got picks and prospects. If they're not getting Parayko and they're not getting Robert Thomas, they're probably going to pivot to somebody else, at least in the summer.
I can tell you that Habs fan Eric, hoping that Russian Bob goes to the Habs. No.
I can't see him going in the division. I mean, it's tough. He's on an expiring deal, but yeah, I don't know about that fit.
Yeah, he's just a Habs fan. That's
okay. But that's also, if you're Bob, like, I'm pretty sure he's got to have some level of trade protection.
He certainly does. Yeah,
he's already won 2 Stanley Cups. He's making bank. He's living in Florida. Like, does he really want to uproot his life either and just move to maybe chase a 3rd Stanley Cup? Like,
that depends on the person, right?
That's a question for him. Yeah, but I don't know.
So I guess my question to you was more, do you think that teams should be negotiating trading a player before there's confirmation that the player would go?
Well, it's tough because you also don't want to go to a player and ask them to waive only for nothing to actually come of it and not to, like, find a fit. So I think it's a kind of a double-edged sword no matter what. I think that probably is the better way, but it shouldn't be getting out into the media. Like, I don't know who wins from that getting out. Like, if it gets denied, it makes the player look bad. It makes the team trying to acquire them look bad. Like, nobody wins there. And I don't know who would leak it, whether it'd be like an agent or something, but
yeah, I don't know either. To me, it doesn't make the player look bad. If a player is comfortable in the place that he's in and he's negotiated a no trade clause and has a list of teams and that team isn't on the list, that is fully his right.
Yeah.
And if he wants to stay, no matter if the team's good or the team's bad, I actually think if he wants to stay, depending on what the reason is, maybe he wants to stay to be part of the rebuild, to mentor young guys. Like, some guys want to do that.
I did see, I think it was a report from Friedman that in Parayko, his situation, he wants to stay in the Western Conference. And I believe they said he would be open to a move to, I think it was Anaheim or Los Angeles. So could be something to watch over the next 24 hours, but also Parayko signed into next season. I don't think the Blues are in any sort of a rush to move him if they don't have to.
Yeah, unless they get a good deal. And
yeah, exactly.
Like, why would they? It's just the point that this all leaked out.
Yeah.
That's the biggest. Ethan says, I was disappointed to hear that Steos had no interest on Greg offers. For me, Greg is not an untouchable. If there's potential to use him for something like a good backup goalie, take it. Ethan, I think you're not thinking properly tonight. Like, I like you, Ethan, but tonight is not your night, and that's okay. Come back tomorrow, get a good night's sleep. If the Ottawa Senators traded Ridley Gregg for a backup goalie, you are out of your mind.
Yeah, man, that's a brutal take there. I don't know. I didn't take that as like no interest on Greg, but probably like you would have to get an offer that would really blow you away. Because I think if you're trading Ridley Gregg, it's for an upgrade. It's for that top 6 forward or top 4 certified right shot defenseman that's going to be there and be a high-end player. Like, you're not trading Ridley Gregg for spare parts. I think that's what I took from it. And a backup goalie who's going to play 5 games this year and then be gone. Yeah, that's spare parts. That's the last thing. No, but
Ridley Gregg's a young player that just because he's not having the year that you would like him to have doesn't mean that there is not a boatload of potential for him to get there.
Yeah, and I think he's having a good second half of the year too. I really like that line with him, Cousins, and Tkachuk. I think they've been clicking really well.
He's been better over the last 6 weeks or so. Whether he was hurt, whether he just wasn't playing well or not getting his spot, young players go through this kind of stuff. And Ridley Gregg is going to be a good player for this team for a long time. I don't know if he'll be a great player, but he'll be a good player for this team for a long time if they keep him. Now, I agree with you. I think that's just Staios protecting a young player to go, yeah, like we don't have interest in getting rid of him. And if they do get a deal that knocks their socks off, well, guess what? They probably will take it because the job of this team is to get better when you can. But you're not just trading Ridley Gregg because he hasn't played well in 40 games this year. Like he's way too good of a player.
Yeah, and it's clearly a guy Staios likes. That extension that Greg's on right now is one of the first moves that Staios made when he was GM.
Yeah.
And like, no, I don't think he's ever going to be Brad Marchand, which I know his play style is kind of similar to, but he can still be a great second line forward for this team for the next 10 years, probably, if he does hit. You know what a good comp I like for him it would be? Kind of like a Brandon Hagel. Like not in that upper tier of superstar, but still like an elite player. He was really good both ways. And like if he can hit in his prime, something like that.
If Ridley Gregg ever got to be close to Brandon Hagel, this team would be so much better.
Yeah, and I don't think that's completely impossible in 5 years or whatever.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, you would have a ways to go, but you don't know what the learning curve is for some of these younger players, especially guys like that are trying to find their way in the league and they want to play a certain style, but they can't play it all the time. And, now they're not getting points and they're down on themselves and it's just not linear. You don't just rise and rise and rise. You wish they did. I mean, coming off of last year, the Ottawa Senators should be a better team. Well, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean they're an awful team. It just means right now their trajectory is not this like steady rise up. There's some bumps along the way, and that happens for everybody. So back to the game tonight. I do want your thoughts right now. The scoreboard, other than Columbus winning, I mean, the Bruins are losing right now. Philly's losing 2-0 to Utah. The Pittsburgh Penguins are losing. It's a decent night on the scoreboard so far for the Ottawa Senators. 4-2, they lead the Edmonton Oilers, and we're playing step for step and better than the Edmonton Oilers. Do you think that they parked the bus? Do you think that it was just Edmonton being, a really good end of the night team? They often come back on teams with the waves that they are able to throw at them. Ottawa had a couple of points that they needed, and they weren't able to get both of them on Tuesday night. And how do you think that they react going into tonight?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both of Ottawa parking the bus in the third period because it did feel like that Edmonton was really pushing, but I think it also is a credit to the talent that's on that Oilers team. When you've got Leon Draisaitl just willing himself into getting a hat trick, there's not a whole lot of guys in the league that can stop that from happening. Definitely not ideal to cough those points up, but I think if there was any team on this trip that you were going to do that against, it would probably be the Edmonton Oilers. And they'd better be fired up tonight because they've got to be looking at this scoreboard. They got to see that their GM just made a move and see the standings and like, hey, if we lose tonight and Boston wins, we're done. In all likelihood, we're not coming back from 8 points. So I think that's got to be the mentality for the players tonight. And it's a Calgary Flames team that is very depleted, like not looking great at all. Their best defenseman being a guy that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, which sounds like Zach Whitecloud will be sticking around there. Conroy seems to want to keep him around, which I guess you can't trade everybody. But their top pair being Whitecloud and Kevin Ball.
Former Ottawa 67.
Not great. It is interesting, though, that both Nazem Kadri and Blake Coleman are expected to be in the lineup tonight, and they aren't being considered for trade reasons. So not as light of a team as you were maybe hoping for, but still a team that if this Senators team is serious about getting back into a playoff spot, they have to beat up on that team.
They do get another backup goalie tonight in Devin Cooley. They do get a lot of backup goaltenders that they play against, which is fortunate. But you're right. You look at the scoreboard and you just look at what the ramifications are. And this is what happens when you put yourself in this spot, that it's almost must win depending on what the Boston Bruins do tonight. And you're going to know halfway through your game what they've done.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think they're playing decently well, but I mean, on the scoreboard, if you want to get factual again, because I know you love your facts and your stats, they're 1-2 in their last 3 games when they absolutely had to come out of the Olympic break and win. Yeah, they got a point against Detroit and they got a point against Edmonton, so it kind of looks like it's 2 wins and 1 loss, but that's not what the scoreboard reads. And the only team they've beat is a really, really bad Toronto team. So they got a couple of really bad teams on the docket coming up with Calgary and Vancouver, sandwiched with the Seattle Kraken, who are playing some decent hockey and right in the thick of the Western playoff race. So Saturday is going to be a tough game in Seattle. I mean, they're going to be ready for Ottawa and knowing that they can't afford to give up the points there. So tonight just becomes so much more critical for the Ottawa Senators. And, you mentioned Calgary. They got waxed on Tuesday by a score of 6-1 against Dallas. And I know Dallas has won 10 in a row, but they looked not very good in that game. And, they don't have many wins. They've beaten San Jose twice and Edmonton once. And other than that, they haven't. I mean, they got 3 wins in their last 13 games.
Yeah, they're in complete free fall. They're in that same tier, maybe just above the Vancouver Canucks. But yeah, it's not very good in Calgary. Hate to see it, but if you're Ottawa, you got to take advantage of that tonight.
I would hope that the captain comes out and plays well tonight. He's certainly been in the thick of things since he won gold and came home, and the boos were pretty loud the other night. It's Edmonton. They got a raucous crowd, but the boos are pretty loud.
Yeah, and Kachuk's made that comment about Draisaitl, always the bridesmaid. Yep. That kind of affected things, as McDavid on that team as well.
Yeah, that was more Matthew though than
for sure
Brady, right? Like that was Matt on the ice. They get locked together sometimes, but then to me, I didn't think he played particularly well, and then he took a ridiculous penalty, and I don't know. I didn't love that he was on the ice in that spot. I just didn't. I know he's the captain, and I know he's, the guy that has some big game winners for you. I do understand that, and for this team in this spot, they need their captain to lead them, like they need their goalie to make a save, all that stuff. I didn't love that he was on the ice. It was a ridiculous penalty that he took against Connor McDavid. Ridiculous. Like, I just don't have any idea what he was thinking.
He's doing his best Brown Breaker impression, trying to spear him out of his skates. But yeah, I agree with that as well. I think they could have probably put Drake Batherson in that spot, maybe Dylan Cousins, 2 guys that were trying to get a hat trick on the evening and have a bit more foot speed for an overtime type of 3-on-3 situation. But yeah, it was unfortunate. Yeah, a completely boneheaded penalty by Brady.
And then they lost the game, and I don't know. And I probably shouldn't bring this up right now. I haven't sent this to you yet. We haven't seen too much on it. I think it's weird though. I'll send it to you. Maybe we can talk about it on Saturday. But Brady and Matthew are doing an autograph session.
I did see this.
Okay, the day before they play in Florida at the end of the month, which is like, okay, like, yeah, the brothers, they won gold medal. Like, I get it. It's, strike while the iron's hot. But they're doing it in the season, like in the middle of the season. It'll be a way more important game for Brady than it will Matthew.
Yeah.
The prices are like eye-popping. Eye-popping. Like $100, $150. Matthew's charging more than Brady.
That was funny.
But just for like a picture, and it literally goes from $100, $150 to $1,000 for a gold medal VIP session where you get to put the gold medal around your neck. And like, look, I'm trying to be nice about this, where I say that I looked hard to find the charity component for this. I could not.
Yeah, that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit as well. Like if
and
you're
so-
going to do that,
one makes 8 million, one makes 10 million. Like, you do well, like, why aren't you waiting until the season's over?
Yeah.
I don't know. The players aren't going to have that big of an issue with it, like on the team, because they're like, go get what you can get. Like the players aren't going to care. But I just thought it's not a great look.
No,
especially now. Matthews got 2 cups, and if they don't make the playoffs, whatever. But for Brady, it's a little bit different. Ethan says, I've said this a couple of times, but Ottawa struggling with OT this season. It really goes to show what Norris brought to 3-on-3 play. I'm with you, Lee. I prefer someone like Cousins out there over Brady. Yeah, I think there were a few options to be able to put on the ice other than Brady Tkachuk. It's who he's against. And you saw, like, once he was behind Connor McDavid, he just, like, he's never going to catch him, which is why the penalty was so ridiculous, because he's never going to catch him. So, let the player who's back there take him and try and get back and get somebody else. Like, that's your job.
Yeah, I think at that point, though, it was about to be a McDavid Draisaitl 2-on-1 or 2-on-0. Not excusing at all what Brady did, but
no, but opposed to a 4-on-3 power play from the best power play unit in the league to decide a game.
Yeah, I mean that power play felt automatic as soon as they took it. Like, yeah, that one's gonna go in the back of their net.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, it does from Bouchard.
So,
Zetterlund, come on, man. Zetterlund and over. Oh, we're both trying to click it. There we go. I win.
That's the third time. That was like
Patterson and Cousins, both chasing hat tricks. To me, like, should have been out there, and also just foot speed for overtime. Like I mentioned, I think Drake Batherson can keep up with Tim Stützle a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm not putting Cousins or Zetterlund on. I don't love either of those players in that spot. I'm not even joking with you that I would think about putting Shabbat on with Sanderson and Stützle, with going up against those guys to be able to try and keep up.
It's not a bad idea.
Anyway, it's just, look, I get it. He's their captain. He's, the guy that they pay a lot of money to be out there. But I think I didn't love the decision, but I get it. I hated what he did. So it's way more on him than it is on the coach. But so they go into tonight, and it's almost must win again. What'd you think about Ullmark's game the other night?
I thought he played all right. Like, not bad, but not great either.
Isn't that a lot of what we've been saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, before the break, it was, oh my God, he's terrible. Or, oh my God, where is he?
I'll go back to the point that you made earlier this week, that the Ottawa Senators are going to get themselves into a playoff spot, whether he likes it or anybody else likes it or not. The MVP has to be Linus Ullmark down the stretch. He needs to be your best player. He needs to be more than, he played okay. I mean, there weren't bad goals. Like, he's got to make a couple of stops that you're like, oh my God. Kept them in the game, gave them a chance to win, and go out and win games. And while the goals have not been his fault, it's not like I looked at any of the goals and thought, wow, that's a terrible goal the other night. He needs to be your best player. And when he's not your best player, like, the difference is right now that if Linus Ullmark was their best player, they'd be 3-0 since the break. And instead, they're 1-2.
865 save percentage.
Right.
It's going to tell you a little bit.
And he hasn't been horrible, but you need more than hasn't been horrible right now. You're in a spot where you're way back, and every game is going to be so important. They projected that the Boston Bruins the other night were going to get to 100 points. Now, I don't know that they're going to get to 100, but they're on pace to get to 100. Mm-hmm. And if they do, Ottawa's got to go 17-5. Like, come on. They go 17-22 and Linus Ullmark's just going to be okay? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And they also have four back-to-backs before the end of the year. And I don't know how exactly they're going to handle those.
Yeah. That's, I think, why we were talking about, again, they got to bring a goalie in. Ethan, earlier in the chat, mentioned Tarasov, someone like that. Maybe you look at Delkovich out of San Jose. One of those tandem guys, 1B, preferably on an expiring deal. I think you got to bring one of those guys in. Which
just tomorrow. A guy on an expiring deal that gives you that when you put him in the net 5 or 6 times in the month of March, he gives you a chance to win the hockey game. And you're not
better than James Reimer.
Yeah, you're not. Oh my God, James Reimer's in the net. They can't win tonight. You can't have that right now. But they do. So getting back to the deal here before we go, almost game time here for the Ottawa Senators in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
The bringing in Warren Foegele to me is a decent move for next year, but I don't know where they're going to. The only way they're going to supplement their team at this point to me is, and where they're going to be in a couple of years is through free agency, because their cupboard is so bare right now. And we don't know what's happening with that first round pick, if they're even going to get their pick back or not. We won't find out before tomorrow for sure. But like whether that happens or not, they don't have much down in Belleville. So while I don't mind the move for next year, a couple of days ago, we went in saying right shot D, more scoring, another goalie. And they didn't get any of those things.
Mm-hmm. So I was just checking. I guess Holiday warmed up. Okay, no, he's a scratch. Never mind. Stephen Holiday took the warm-ups along with McDermott, so I was a little confused there.
Yeah, but he is a scratch?
He is a scratch. Eller's playing, and so is McDermott. Yeah. Stephen Holiday not playing tonight, but he did warm up.
Yeah.
Kind of
interesting. Yeah, that is, interesting. I don't know that McDermott's going to play a lot tonight if they need, if the game's close. McDermott's one of those guys that whether the game's out of hand either way, you're going to put him on to soak up some ice time and not have other guys out there, but he's not going to play in any crucial situations at all. So
I can't even remember the last game he was in.
This is must-win time for the Ottawa Senators. Do they tonight?
I think so. Just looking at that Calgary roster, and I think hopefully the desperation that the Sens should be playing with tonight, if their head's in the game, it should be a very easy game to win for them.
Yeah, Ottawa doesn't make a lot of things too easy on themselves sometimes, but they are playing some good structured hockey. I would hope that the Edmonton game doesn't put them too far behind. Calgary does not have anything close to what the firepower that the Edmonton Oilers have. I think they tried to park the bus and it just didn't work. They almost got there, but a minute 25 to go. They almost got there parking the bus against a firepower like that. So it's just about not falling behind in this game and feeling like you're chasing the Calgary Flames somehow. Like, just get out, even if it's even after one, just make sure you're not chasing the hockey game tonight.
Right. Yeah, if they can play that shutdown game that they've been playing for the last 3-4 weeks, they'll be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, like even like 0-0, 1-1 at the end of one, they're fine because they're way better than Calgary.
Especially like the depth, some of the matchups that they're going to get tonight are going to be very favorable.
Right. Through 60 minutes, they're a much better team than the Calgary Flames. So I do think we're looking at a 4-2 Senators win, maybe empty net. I think it's probably closer. They just don't make things that easy on themselves sometimes, but they should win. They need to win, and I think they will win tonight. And at least put themselves in the spot, depending on what happens here with the Boston Bruins. Latest update is still 1-0 at the end of one. They're just about to drop the puck for the beginning of the second period in Nashville, with the Nashville Predators leading the Boston Bruins by a score of 1-0.
Speaking of Nashville, just very, very quickly, they're in kind of fire sale now. There's a name I'm looking at on their roster that I think could make a little bit of sense if White Cloud's not available.
Oh, it's not other Markham boy Steven Stamkos?
No. No. I was going to say Nick Perbix.
Okay.
He's playing on their second pair. He's making a little over $2 million, expiring UFA.
Okay.
I think he'd be an all right target for them to go for it at right D if the Preds are feeling like they're out of it.
Yeah. And then again, you just don't know I don't know what they have to give.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I guess they have their other second round pick. Like this, they had 2 second round picks.
No, they gave up a second last year for Zetterlund. Was that not, or was that the 2025 second? I don't believe the Sens have their second pick. I think after today.
Okay, I thought they had 2.
I'm pulling up Wikipedia very quickly.
Second round picks. Tanner's usually right in these spots. So I thought they had 2 and they gave up the one that they got from Buffalo.
They did give up the one from Buffalo, but I'm pretty sure they already gave up their own.
Okay. Columbus with a 3-0 lead right now on the Florida Panthers. Buffalo's up 4-1 in Pittsburgh. So those are the 2.
Oh, that's right. We should have known. So their second was involved in a move already this deadline. It was traded from the Utah Hockey Club, the Utah Mammoth, over to the Calgary Flames as part of the Uyghur package. The Senators traded away their second this year in the Jacob Chychrun trade.
Right. Of course.
So they currently have 3 third-round picks, Florida's, Washington's, and Dallas. And then the LA one, I guess, is going to mix in here somewhere. They could move one of those picks around, I think it was around 7 to 15 positions, give or take.
Yeah.
And then they don't have their 4th-round pick either. They don't have their 7th. They do have their 5th and 6th.
All right. Well, gotta stack the cupboard back up and see what you can do. They made their team better next year. It's just whether they've done enough to sort of get back up in the hunt this year. But we'll see here in the next 3 games on the road before they come home to face the Montreal Canadiens on the 11th. Tanner, expect you in the chat later.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's been a journey with you, Tanner. Okay.
Yeah. And by the time we talk next, the deadline will be done.
See, I thought you were going to get up on the point that it's been a journey with you. Not going to be with us on the pregame show on Saturday.
That's right. I'll be at the Canadian Tire Center catching Journey.
Watching
my mom
Journey.
And my sister and the girlfriend. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
You make me feel younger again just being around you with a guy that's going to see Journey on a Saturday night in Ottawa. Excellent.
Can't wait.
Hold on. We do have a little bit of breaking news, it looks like, before the game starts. So we might as well just stick with this here for a second. Looks like David Perron.
Yep, for a 4th-round pick. They are sending him back to the Detroit Red Wings.
For a 4th-round conditional, that's confirmed.
Yeah, the Sens account's already put it out. Trade alert, the Sens have acquired a conditional 4th-round pick in the 2026 NHL draft from the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for forward David Perron.
Okay, so
see if I can find the condition.
Yeah, I mean, the condition's not the end of the world here. However, I think understanding what they did today and giving up a 2nd-round pick, you get that look in your eye, like the conditions may be worth talking about.
It's not huge. So if Perron plays in a game before the end of the regular season or during the playoffs, the Red Wings will give the Senators the Columbus Blue Jackets 4th-round pick instead. And if the Red Wings advance to the 2nd round of the playoffs and Perron appears in 50% of the 1st-round games, the Red Wings will instead give up their own 3rd-round pick.
Okay.
But I think that makes sense for the Red Wings, especially. Perron was just there a couple seasons ago. They know what he is.
Yeah, so when you're describing that trade, it's a worst case scenario trade, like protection for the Red Wings, but the Red Wings aren't trading for him thinking that he's not going to be available, right?
Yeah.
Like he's skating now. To think that he would be available and healthy and playing 50% of your 1st-round playoffs, I would say the likelihood would be high. at this point. David Perron would, he's what, 30? Is he 39?
I think 38, but he
38. Okay, regardless though, opportunities to play in the playoffs for David Perron are getting very, very thin. He's got now a racetrack to be healthy and ready to go for the playoffs. This to me is a 3rd round pick. I just think the likelihood of David Perron playing 50% of the Red Wings games in the playoffs is way more than 50% right now.
It just comes down to them getting out of the first round, really.
What do you mean? I thought you said in the first round.
No, so he has to play 50% of the games in the first round, and they have to make it to the second round.
Oh, they have to win as well.
They have to win as well, yeah. But I mean, if you're matching up with Buffalo, be an interesting series for sure.
Yeah, okay. So I guess I didn't hear the end of that they had to win that.
Yeah. So they have to make it to the second round, and he has to play in 50% of the games.
Right.
But if he plays in one regular season game and they make the playoffs, then it already becomes a better 4th round pick. It'll be the Columbus one.
Yeah, he'll do that.
For sure.
It's just a tiny bit of protection that something else goes wrong while he's kind of rehabbing and getting better. So, okay, good. David Perron gone from the Ottawa Senators, and Warren Foegele in, and they've just exchanged, like, it's basically a 2nd for a 4th there for the upgrade to Warren Foegele. So all of a sudden now it's not as bad to me what the deal is. It's still a big picture deal. Yep. No question. But so we'll hear you on the chat, Tanner. We'll let people go and watch a game, and you'll be part of the chat, and then you'll be back with us maybe Saturday night, possibly. We'll see after the concert.
See how long my journey takes me.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I allow you on.
I won't stop believing that you might let me on the pod.
Yeah, I might let you on, depending. You won't have watched the game, which is usually the prerequisite to be on a post-game show, but
10 o'clock puck drop. You never know. Journey's getting up there in age. This is their final.
See, this is what he's like. We'll see about Journey will be on the stage at 8:30. They'll be off at 10:45, and I'll PBR the game, and I'll have caught up in the 3rd period. Let's go. Ethan says
your place isn't too far from the CTC. Maybe you'll already be going, and I'll walk into the shop.
I'll be like pointing this way. I'll be doing the Tanner's walking in. He's got the entrance music.
I'll have a mask on, and I'll come out of a box and a coffin, and I'll have dancers.
Did you see the fact that over the last couple of years, did you see how many masked men and people have come out?
Yes.
21.
Oh my God.
21.
We won't go our separate ways.
Oh, see, there you go, Zach. Zach, there's 28 going on 48 right there. Ethan says heading to bed. Have a great night, gentlemen. I totally get it. It's a late show. Eric's like, nice job, fellas. We'll tell you, Bobrovsky's been a hab here as soon as we go. No. So yeah, they've just dropped the puck in the 2nd period. Nashville still leading Boston 1-0, and they're going to drop the puck here. They have dropped the puck already, about a minute and a half in to Ottawa and Calgary. Okay, Tanner, fantastic. We'll hear you on the chat, and enjoy the game, and let's hope for an exciting game when you have to stay up late to do a post-game show.
Enjoy.
That's the key. All right.
I hope you and Zach are holding your breath. But yeah.
We appreciate it. Zach and I will not go our separate ways. I'll keep Zach hanging on forever here tonight, which will be fun. Enjoy the game, Tanner. Thanks very much. This has been your pregame show with Ottawa and Calgary here on OSN.